Welcome with us today, Marwan Atallah. Marwan is a life and business coach. Welcome with us, Marwan, today. Tell me, how are you?
Thank you, Ahmad, for having me. I am great. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Thank you for asking. I want you to tell me who is Marwan and what does Marwan exactly do? Let us know.
All right. So initially, Marwan is a human being at his core, basically. Um, I am actually a professional life coach and business coach. I do help businesses scale and basically break through ceilings and barriers. So whenever there's issues between partners, whenever there's issues with between employees, some employees want to become managers, other managers wants to become CEO. This is where I step in. I help them train their mindsets, change basically uh, some current practices, help them develop new practices in order to thrive in these new opportunities, basically.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I got you. And what also do you do? What specific activities other than this you do?
So definitely, I do have another job as well. I am currently I'm part of a company called Sadr Unipro, where we are actually helping law students upskill their abilities and understand basically how to use technology for their advantage, and all over basically the MENA region in Arabic and in English.
Why did you choose to become life and business coach? Like, what drove you to be in this industry specifically, or was the motive, if I may say?
So basically, the motive was it was never clear, to be honest. Ever since I was a kid, I was the best at handling situations between friends. Anytime there's an issue between a couple, anytime there's an issue between two friends, they would come to
Hmm.
Marwan, and Marwan has all the solutions.
Yeah,
So I got to practice really early on this skill, and eventually I realized that it was a actual job you can do. So I got my license, I got my certificate, and I'm currently pursuing my ICF accreditation. So I do have the level 1 at the moment, and I'm going for level 2,
that's amazing.
basically to reach eventually the level 3, which is the golden level in coaching.
That's amazing. That's fascinating. And why did you specifically pick that type of thing to do? Like, why businesses? Why people specifically? Like, why didn't you, for example, go for something else? Like maybe working with the young individuals. Like, why businesses? Why those type of problems? Like, what was the sign
So
that
definitely,
made you realize that this is the thing that is for you?
yeah. So definitely it was a trial and error period. I'll be honest with you, it wasn't my initial goal to be a business coach
Mm,
and a life coach. Initially, I was basically I was pursuing a career in life coaching alone.
mm,
Then I realized that for me, coming from my background and all the knowledge that and the experience that I have amassed throughout the years, I realized that being a business coach is something that is rare in today's market. So you don't usually find a lot of business coaches, at least in the MENA region, that are on a caliber where they understand what they're saying, and they
mm.
actually are living, breathing proof that you can how to scale the business, understand the business terminologies, understanding how to build a software, actually building a software. So I used all my experience to set myself apart from the rest of the market,
Hmm.
because if I just call myself a life coach, I'll be just like anyone else in the market,
Yeah.
either certified or non-certified. Whenever I label it as a business coach, I'm stepping in a different niche market, while also preserving the idea of I do life coaching to the managers. I do the same frameworks of life coaching, but within the
Yeah.
business field, where you can
Hmm.
solve bigger problems, where you can solve problems that will impact many people, not just one person.
Yeah. 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 It makes sense. And why is it important for you to impact many people? Like, what was the moment that you said, I want to impact a lot of people?
So the moment was actually when I got the opportunity to step on a stage for the first time in my life, where it was under an NGO, basically called Saint Vincent de Paul, where they invited me to speak to around an audience of 70 people. I never had a talk before that moment, to actually help them build a structure that will make the NGO a bit
Mm.
make the NGO a bit better in the market, help them raise some funds better, and help them build a more sustainable model. So I was invited there as a first-time speaker. I was around 25 years old. So I was in a room where the youngest person in the room was around 60. So to give a talk in front of an audience that big with that much of an experience or maybe a caliber and do an impact on them showed me the power of actually impacting many. Seeing that out of a 70 people crowd, around 40 to 50 people were engaged fully and doing the exercises fully. And listening to a person that's 25 years old actually gave me a lot of boost and confidence.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've been doing it. I've been doing it with a proud smile on my face because I can make better use of my time basically when I impact this many people.
Yeah. Yeah. I see it because like when you try to help someone, when you help someone, it's kind of like triggers something in you that also helps you
Yep,
discover things about yourself. Have you ever faced
exactly.
this type of situation?
Weirdly enough, it does give you a dopamine hit at a certain stage. Whenever you see someone shift from a certain mindset to another, whenever you see someone shift from a fixed idea to all of a sudden they realize there's an aha moment that happens somewhere in their brain. Um, it's sort of like you just know, like you click the button to light up a room, and that's the power of doing it. And
Yeah.
whenever I see this effect on others, it will automatically reciprocate on me. So I will automatically also feel uplifted. So it's like a we give each other energy whenever things are clicking.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like a loop, like a cycle. It's an
Exactly.
eventual exchange, if I may say, because when
It
you like
is.
actually help someone and you see that you are actually doing this type of impact, then you will actually have this deep desire of like doing more and more and more, and it's like
Yep.
a
Yep.
continuous cycle. And they put it into quote maybe like what goes thing goes around or
What
something
goes
like
around
this.
comes around.
Yeah, yeah, something like this. And the reason why people say it that way is like either they call it karma, either they call it, I don't know, like they call it many, many things. Like it can be called a lot of things. But how I see it more, it's like more on the subconscious level. Because when your subconscious
Exactly.
communicates with someone's else subconscious, it's a communication that you are not aware of unless you became aware of. So it's unconscious communication until you bring it consciously. The irony of
Exactly.
it. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
100%. Like when you give someone energy, it feels kind of like your subconscious mind will understand what type of nature changed in this type of person. That way, it will have those type of effects on yourself, and you will actually have a different understanding of yourself and your abilities, which will lead you into a better scale of believing in yourself because like it's kind of you did what you want to do on the ground and
Yes.
it
Yes.
happened and it worked. So yeah, that's something that is very, very
It's
great. And even you can spread kindness with a just a smile to a stranger or like just be kind
yep.
because like what will happen if you have a scenario and like you became mad or something like this. I want to ask you something you mentioned which is very important. You
Go
spoke
ahead.
about the idea of it was not clear until.
Yep.
So tell me, like when it was in your childhood and you was doing this and that, and you wasn't paying attention until you came the person you are today. And I faced this scenario because like I was doing a lot of things when I was a child, and I was like, okay, what I was doing. Then when I grew up, I realized that I gained an actual skills that I wasn't aware of. So how did you
Yep.
discover that you was gaining those skills later on? Like what type of reflection or a trigger that happened in your life?
So I do believe that initially when you position yourself in a certain field or in a certain goal or in a certain orientation, a lot of things open up in your uh, areas, basically. A lot of opportunities start showing up. Now, you mentioned the word until. The idea of until, before until something has to happen. So actually, I was trying a lot of things, as I said. Uh, so in all the trial and errors that I've been through, I started finding basically all of the positive things, the negative things, the room for improvement things, and where I can start working on myself even more.
Mm.
And it was a, if you want to call it, you know, the sensor of a car, whenever you're approaching a wall, whenever you're backing up, it just starts beeping. So every
Yeah.
time I used to go into the field of coaching, I start hearing the beep getting louder. It's like, I
Yeah.
should be there. I should be doing this. I should be talking to people. I should be influencing others. And every time I shifted away from coaching, I was always in a sense of, I'm doing what I have to do just because I have to do it,
Yeah.
just because it's not a passion. It's not something that I wake up that I need, that it's is a must to do. It's, I have to do it. It pays the bills. I need to do it. I need to get it done. But whenever I'm in coaching, I'm in a different state of mind. I'm there just to enjoy my time,
Yeah.
give impact, do change people's life, and continue with my life.
Yeah.
So as I started feeling these triggers, it took a lot of self-awareness to understand that something is happening inside whenever I'm in coaching and whenever I'm outside of coaching. So the moment that I chose to change my life, well, it was simply a choice.
Mm.
A choice to jump into a uncertain business,
Yeah.
a choice to actually take on a business that is not a family business, that is not something anyone from my direct entourage that can help me do it, and I have to figure it out myself.
Mm.
And it was a full-on choice I took around 3 years ago. So today I am feeling that it was the right choice, and I still believe it is at a certain level in my life. So this is my until, basically. It was a choice.
Yeah. It is always a choice. That's actually fascinating words. How you put it into words, it's amazing. Because everything in life is an actual choice. And I always tell people, choose, choose to choose. And if you are not choosing, you are choosing not to choose.
Exactly.
So if you are not
Exactly.
choosing, then you are choosing not to choose because a choice is a choice, and you make that choice by choosing to choose. So it's kind of like paradoxical, but like the idea of a choice, which a lot of people try to run from because it's easier to not to choose not to choose, because not to choose requires less effort, or it's automatic, if I may say, because like what's better than nothing? Than nothing, because nothing does not exist. So the best thing is nothing,
Exactly.
or the easiest thing is nothing because it's nothing. So you tell me
And you
when
fall
you,
into this loop, basically.
yeah,
You
yeah,
fall
you
into this
mentioned
loop.
the loop. So
Yep,
tell me about the loop. Have you ever fall into it, and what got you out of it?
definitely. Definitely. Going through this actually journey towards where I am today, the loop has always been there. I do believe that every single one of us actually have a certain, how should I say, default mode, if I want to call it.
Yeah,
Okay, so every single one of us has their default mode. It's based on some habits we developed growing up,
yeah,
and some basically uh, figures that we look up to. And as we build this default mode, anytime we start stepping out of the default mode, whether it's in a positive direction or a negative direction, the default mode is in jeopardy. It's
mm,
scared, basically.
yeah,
So in order to break out of this mode, you have to always remind yourself that this is a choice you are making for a better life. The idea is we feel threatened by the choices we make because they are uncertain and because they might lead to failure. And failure might lead to opinions of others judging us, which puts us in a scenario where we are afraid of being expelled from this community.
yeah,
So this is a loop that I've been contemplating for a while, and it has held me back for a lot of time until I realized that it's nothing more than the people that we're afraid of, or the failure that we're afraid of having is not as big as it looks like.
yeah,
And if we do fail, we can always learn and proceed. And no big person, no big company, no one actually changed the world by not failing.
yeah,
You
true.
have to fail to reach your destination. And these are basically the phrases that I keep on hammering down in my brain. So every time I'm afraid of failure, every time I feel anxious, every time I feel that whatever I'm doing is overwhelming me, it's taking all my power away. I always remember
Mm.
that I'm doing this in order to get a better life. I'm doing this in order to help more people. I'm doing this in order to build my family. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm building my reasons why I'm doing this enough to keep me whenever things get hard, because
Mm.
things will get hard and there's nothing
Yeah.
you can do about it.
Yeah. It totally makes sense. Like you are focusing on anchoring yourself to the things you want. And as it
Yep,
has been said, or as I usually put it into words, that even if you like boxing or karate or like anything, you don't actually lose by losing a round, but you lose by losing the match itself. So the round is considered as a failure, the match is considered as a loss. But it's on you
yep,
to decide if you wanna choose to be miserable the whole like rounds just because of one round and actually lose the match, or like be a failure 5 times, but will like be a winner 7 times or succeed 7 times, which will lead you into winning the whole match, which is life. So that's
exactly,
how people try to
exactly.
avoid actually the sense of responsibility, because I usually put it into three parasites. That's a concept that I have in my philosophical school, that the first parasite is familiarity, okay? The fear of not knowing. The second one is assumptions. And this one is the fear of anxiety, the fear of the future. And the third one,
Overthinking, basically.
it's kind of like mix of overthinking, and it's also kind of considered the way people start catastrophically positioning themselves in a way
Sabotaging.
that will actually depower them. Like people depower themselves,
Yep,
literally. And the third one is self-doubt, which is the fear of someone's incapability or the fear of failure. And those three parasites, actually, they eat each other. So it's an endless cycle unless someone choose to actually change it. So, what was
exactly.
when you was doing the anchors, like and anchoring all those things to actually like win what you want to win. So you was thinking about, okay, there is my family, there is myself, there's my future self, there's what I want to have, there's all those desires accumulated. So there is definitely, and back in this stage, I believe that you have also had multiple desires. So how did you filter those desires and understood that, okay, this is my motivation, this is not?
Okay, so basically, it was a straight process I actually took from one of the videos of Jim Rohn. I don't know if you know Jim Rohn.
Yeah.
Uh, he he actually goes by and tells you to write down basically all the reasons why this you are doing something. And
Mm.
just whenever you write them down, you need to prioritize the ones that mean the most to you and the ones that have the greatest impact on you.
Yeah.
Uh, and basically, for me, it was going through my coaching training, going through NLP training, and all of these things. I understood that there is something that we have that's called values that is a very big driving force to every single person.
Yep.
So if my values are family, if my values are love, hope, happiness, perseverance, money, uh, growth,
Mm.
connection, then I will favor the desires that align with these values.
Yeah.
And based on this mathematical equation, basically, I just wrote them on a paper,
Yeah.
circled the one that meant the most for me, and basically added numbers like what's the percentage of this and how important is this desire to me in terms
Yeah.
of percentage. So over 100, how important this is for me. And
Yeah.
whenever I ranked them up, I understood that okay, these are my priorities. If I use these as my driving force, then there's no way I'm stopping
Mm.
because they are really important to me. So
Yeah.
by default, I'll use them as my excuse to continue and not to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like if someone does not have a view on their values, it's a pretty dangerous, because it's like having a ship
Yep,
without a sail. Like the wind just take it like, yeah, left, right, but like it's
exactly.
going nowhere. It's bounded by nowhere. And there is a quote that I love that if you don't stand against anything, you stand for nothing. So the default of a belief by nature to make other beliefs seems nonsensical. So if you believe
Exactly.
that the sky is red, it will ultimately eliminate all the possibilities that the sky would be any other color but red. So that's
Yeah.
something funny, and we see now a lot because people kind of lose this essence of being open and curious enough to filter what actually aligns with their human essence. Because what you previously mentioned, which is very
Exactly.
important, the idea of what I call conditioned self, which is you bounded by your old values, old beliefs, old definitions that are not even yours, that are written by maybe the environment, maybe yourself, maybe an inspiration or a visual that you saw. So it kind of varies for each individual. So let me know now, when you got out of your conditioned self and you aligned yourself to your true self, what was the thing other than having your why? What was the thing that made you stand up from bed and say, okay, today we're gonna have a productive day?
Other than choice and the why, mainly.
Yeah,
Uh,
because the choice was you starting. The why
yep.
was why this is important. Now, what was the thing that made
So
you take the action?
at this stage, the thing that made me take the action is setting the action plan for it. So just implementing on everything I mapped out initially. So
Yeah.
I had sort of a schedule, a weekly schedule, that I
Mhm.
used to do, me and my partner, that we still do actually, where we map out basically the year, the month, and the week. And
Yeah.
each week we do this exercise to eventually reach a end goal by the end of the year that brings us closer to whatever we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
So going through this system, I had actually been in a span of 1 year or 2 years, I actually completed multiple things that I had never thought were possible, to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
By the simple fact of organizing a few goals, not too many goals, or 1 to 3 goals maximum per week, that will get me closer to my monthly goal, that will get me closer to my yearly goal.
Yeah.
And doing them consistently over 365 days a year will get you a an insane amount of growth throughout the year.
Yeah.
So if I want to answer your question, it's just having a ritual that suits you, having an accountability measure to hold you accountable to whatever you're
Yeah.
doing. Because if you're doing it only for yourself, yes, you can get motivated. Yes, you can
Hmm.
be consistent with it. But at the end of the day, you can always lie to yourself. You can always find a way to
True.
sabotage yourself. But when someone
True.
else's uh, ideas, expressions, thoughts about you are at stake, so basically you voiced out your promise that I'm going to do this, then now it's the opinions of others, which is usually a motivator for not doing something,
Yeah.
motivating you to do something.
Yeah. 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 I got you.
So because I don't want them to see me as a failure, I'm gonna accomplish this.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to be disappointed in me, I'm gonna accomplish this. So accountability, schedule, coming hand in hand will actually get you the results that you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
that's a big
actually
part of what we do in coaching, the way.
yeah.
That's a big part of what we do in coaching.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Like just, having this clear plan in front of you and just
Yep.
the actual accountability kind of manager or a tracker or something that you can measure in a way or another.
Yes,
Like
yes,
just something in front of you on a paper. Don't just keep it in your head. That's what matters the
exactly.
most. Like
You
I
have
have,
to write it down.
yeah,
It's unquestionable. You have
true.
to.
True. I have created a full life equality control system that I use for myself and my team members in order to
Yep.
keep a track on what we are scaling each day, literally each day. And we evaluate also on weekly basis. We do like quarterly KPIs, and those KPIs we take them also, we put them under the category of month, like what type of actions we're gonna perform. And we do weekly reflection, what are the best lessons, what we did as a mistake, and all those stuff. So that's actually
Amazing.
very important for people to have everything clear in front of them. Now, I want to wrap
Yeah.
it up with the question that I love the most. Now, let's go back 3 years ago. How was Marwan thinking, or what was Marwan at a stage in life? What? Let's go back and remember those things, 5 years. And would you be able to achieve what you are currently achieving by the old same mentality, or there's something that had to die inside of you in order for you to be who you are today?
I totally agree with the idea that something has to die inside of you.
Yeah,
And the things that do have to die inside of you are usually they come with a price, unfortunately.
yeah,
Fortunately and unfortunately. So at a certain level, if I stayed in my old habits, if I stayed in my old self, with my old entourage, with my old beliefs and mindset, I
yeah,
would have definitely never took on a coaching course initially. I
yeah.
would never have thought about launching a business. I would have still be thinking of what if one day I would launch this business? What will happen? What if, what
True.
if, what if? I was stuck in the what ifs only for a reason because I had this bad perception about me not being able to accomplish such a
Yeah,
thing, it being such a big challenge or a big mountain that I need to scale.
yeah,
It needs time. All of these excuses come into play. Like it needs time. You need to do that. You need to study a lot of things. You need to pay a lot for the courses. You need to practice more than 500 hours. You need to do all of the hard things. So whenever you're looking at them from outside, they scare you.
yeah. True.
So definitely, if I look at what I've done in the past 3 years and look at actually what mindset I was before these 3 years and what state of mind I was, you wouldn't believe me. So you
Yeah,
wouldn't believe that this person today is the same person that was 5 years ago.
yeah,
But that's because, as you said, something had to die. Friendships had to be ended basically. Uh, old ways of thinking had to stop. New patterns have to be developed. Old patterns have to be cut and changed. A lot of self work has to happen in order to reach this part. So there's a price to pay to get to this level, and you have to be willing to pay it because it's very rewarding at the end of the day.
true, true. Marwan, I want to sincerely thank you for such an amazing, insightful perspective that you shared of yours. And I hope that all the viewers now just take a look back on the whole podcast and actually this episode specifically, just like take notes because we shared some most of like valuable insight that you can ever have, and it's easy to implement. You just need to have it in front of you, as we
Definitely.
said. I want to thank you for being with us today. It's kind of like the lack of water. I want you to share with us where we can find you.
So definitely you can find me on multiple social media platforms on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Facebook. You can also, whenever you want to jump on a call with me, just click the link in my bio. There's a section where you can book a call and we can just have a chat. Usually these chats are open for anyone. So please feel free to do it.
Amazing.
And
Thank you again for
thank you,
being
Ahmad,
with
for having
us,
me a
and
lot.
I hope you have an amazing day.